I played way more retro games in 2024 than I did games that actually came out in 2024. So without further ado, here's my top 10 games that didn't come out in 2024.
Number 10.
Starting off the list at number 10 is Dark Souls 3. I played a lot of Dark Souls games this year, but Dark Souls 3 was my favorite. Now, this is the first actual Dark Souls title that I've played, and I realized that all the other Souls-like games are missing one key ingredient that Dark Souls brings to the table, and that ingredient is misery. There was all sorts of bullshit and just mean things that I had to absolutely trudge through to make it through this game. And I realized that that is one of the points of Dark Souls, that they really like to lean into. Nevertheless, this entry had some of the most jaw-dropping locales and great bosses in the series. I can highly recommend Dark Souls 3 to anyone looking to get into the From Software series.
Number 9.
If you're a real gamer, you'll know that Pinball was the original video game, and that the best pinball games are on the Game Boy Advance. What really surprised me this year was Mario Pinball Land. You collect stars, complete objectives, and play upwards through the tables in 4 different worlds. It's a full-fledged Mario game in its own right, with boss battles and everything. I just really love the graphics and presentation on this too. I really do think it's one of the best looking games on the Game Boy Advance. Real pleasant surprise this year with Mario Pinball Land.
Number 8.
Continuing the Game Boy Advance trend is Castlevania Circle of the Moon. Like Peanut Butter, Castlevania games come in 2 flavors, crunchy or creamy. I think that Castlevania Circle of the Moon is the best of both worlds. It's got some heavy weight to it, like the old NES Castlevania games, but it's still got that sprawling castle map from Symphony of the Night and the series kind of onward from there. What's really cool about this game is the dual soul system. You're able to collect souls and mix and match the combinations together to make all sorts of different power-ups for your character, and it works great. This game sucked me in for like 3 days straight as I played it start to finish, and ended up being one of my favorite Castlevania games. Game Boy Advance Castlevania games are great, and Circle of the Moon is no exception.
Number 7.
I know Metroid Prime Remastered came out recently, but what I played this year was Metroid Prime 3 on the Wii. People knock this game for the motion controls, but they work great. I don't see what the problem is. In a lot of ways, having the free aiming is more intuitive than any other control scheme. It makes for some great boss fights and puzzle solving that involve precision aiming, and the supplemental motion controls work pretty well too. This is a Metroid Prime game through and through, and just like the rest of the games in the series, it is exceptional.
Number 6.
I hit a big slump this year that I didn't know what to play, and I was so glad the Mario Golf was there for me. Of the 3 Mario Golf games I've played, I really like Toadstool Tour the best. It's got some real in-depth system for the pro golfers, and it allows new players to pick it up as well with the manual or automatic options. It's got a ton of different game modes and checklists to keep me playing personally, and I love the balance between realistic golf courses and Mushroom Kingdom. This game understands that it's a video game about golf. It doesn't try too hard to be realistic, and it really allows for some fantastical course designs. I'm still getting better every day, and I love having a golf game to fall back on. Mario Golf Toadstool Tour has been a constant throughout the year.
Number 5.
Rez is an obscure PS2 game that I picked up a few months back. It's a rail shooter with a bunch of rhythm action elements. The thing worth mentioning here is the killer soundtrack and the gameplay that locks in with the rhythm to it. Locking into this game, racking up the combos, and getting through those later levels is an experience that I will never forget.
Number 4.
Number 4 is Forza Horizon. I was gonna spend a lot of money on an expensive racing rig, but I decided to forego that and get an Xbox 360 rig instead. Forza Horizon cost me $13 used, and the amount of hours I've got out of it more than pays for itself. I seriously underestimated immersion gameplay. Cruising through the roads of Colorado is not only intensely familiar for me, it's also just relaxing. I'm not good at any of the races, but that doesn't matter. This year, there weren't many games I got more mileage out of than Forza Horizon.
Number 3.
Number 3 goes to Zelda 2. People say that this is the worst Zelda game, and I honestly agreed with them until I beat it. Beating this game was one of the most difficult things I've ever done, but it's also one of my proudest achievements. This might be the worst Zelda game, but it's by no means a bad NES game. It's got so much depth to it. You visit towns and talk to villagers to find hints for the next puzzles. You find 7 different magic spells to upgrade. Talking to the sword masters gets you new moves which are essential for the later combat. There's hidden areas on the world map. As far as NES games go, it's got more depth than most of them. There's also something for me personally that I just love about NES games. Opening a notebook and writing down passwords, trying to remember all the hints and put it all together yourself and look it up without walkthroughs. Plugging in an NES game and getting after it like this is something deeply personal to me, and Zelda 2 is one of my big white whales. I was so glad to finish it this year.
Number 2.
Oh, what can I even say about Tunic? I can't say a lot. It was really cute, and it plays kind of like Dark Souls, but that's not why I love Tunic. I love Tunic for its secrets and the way that it subverted my expectations. The actual file name for Tunic when you boot it up isn't called Tunic, it's called The Secret Legend. And that can clue you into a little bit of what this game is all about. You collect pieces of a manual that are written in gibberish, and you have to piece it all together through context clues. It seems really difficult at first, but playing a game like this took me way back to a nostalgia that I didn't even remember myself. It took me back to when I first got Ocarina of Time and started up a file that was halfway through and didn't even know where I was. I wasn't reading text boxes or anything like that. I was just exploring the world around me and piecing two and two together as I discovered it. That was the feeling that Tunic brought me back to, and it was something really special. By the end of this game, I was scrawling out notes furiously on my notepad trying to figure out all the secrets. I even keep a scrap of one up on the wall as a memento of the time I spent with this game. If that's not special, I don't know what is. Game of the year, what could be the game of the year? He named every video game. What could be the game of the year?
Number 1.
I don't care. I don't care, I said. Game of the year is Danganronpa 2. The first Danganronpa game really surprised me last year, and this one was even better. I don't even understand why I love this game so much. By all accounts, I really shouldn't. It's like this game is throwing out all these tropes and twists at you that don't make any sense and then laughing in your face while it does it. It's got all these design choices that I just don't understand why they picked it. It's got gameplay elements that just don't make sense to me. And yet, there's not a single game that stuck with me this year like Danganronpa 2 did. These characters are insane. Talk about memorable. Nagito alone is one of my favorite antagonists/protagonists I've ever seen. I cannot wrap my head around these guys. This game was full of twists, and I couldn't guess a single one of them the whole way through. I have never in my life seen a game like Danganronpa 2, and the impact it left with me easily puts it at the top of the list for Game of the Year. There you guys have it, my top 10 retro games of the year. There was a lot more that I played that I didn't get around to talking about. Maybe I'll make some more videos about them here soon. Thanks for watching, guys. Happy New Year, and we'll see you around.